A solemn and urgent question is being asked in Christian communities around the world, especially where faith can cost you everything. When violence is at your doorstep, what does your faith require of you? This is the ultimate dilemma, pulling us between two sacred principles: the God given instinct to protect the life He gave us, and His clear command, "Thou shalt not kill." For millions, this isn't a theological debate, it's a terrifying potential reality. So we must confront it. In the face of violent persecution, can a Christian justifiably use force in self defense? Or does true faithfulness mean laying down your life, becoming a martyr? The case for self defense. Protection as duty. First, let's consider the argument for self defense. It begins with the sanctity of life itself. If life is sacred, then defending an innocent life, your child's, your neighbor's, can be seen as an act of obedience, preventing a greater evil. Scripture provides examples. Godly men like King David, Nehemiah, and the judges were warriors when circumstance demanded. While we live under a new covenant, these narratives suggest that the use of force isn't inherently outside God's will. Furthermore, Scripture calls believers to provide for and protect their households. Can a father who stands by while his family is harmed be said to fully love them? This perspective frames defense as a sober responsibility, a tragic, last resort act of love for your neighbor, stopping a perpetrator to protect the wider community. The case for nonviolence, the radical cross. In stark contrast, the call to nonviolence comes directly from the teachings and example of Jesus Christ. His command in the Sermon on the Mount is radical: do not resist an evil person, turn the other cheek. This calls us beyond natural instinct to a supernatural standard of grace. His personal example is definitive. When Peter drew a sword to defend him, Jesus said, "Put your sword back in its place, for all who draw the sword will die by the sword." He submitted to the cross, overcoming evil with sacrificial love, not force. The early church embraced this. For centuries, believers faced death in Roman arenas, not with weapons, but with prayers and hymns. Their peaceful testimony confounded the empire and fueled the church's growth. This path declares that our ultimate trust is in God's sovereignty, not our own power. As the early church father Tertullian said, the blood of the martyrs is the seed of the church. Navigating the tension, where do we stand? So where does this leave us? In profound tension, some theologians distinguish between personal conduct and the role of governing authorities who are instituted by God to bear the sword and execute justice, a different category from personal vengeance. Others seek a middle way: preparedness, community watch groups, or non-lethal deterrence, aiming to protect without intending lethal harm. Yet, in a moment of crisis, such distinctions can blur. There is no one-size-fits-all answer that removes the weight of this decision. It cuts to the heart of how we interpret Scripture, how we view God's calling, and what it means to follow Christ in a broken world. This isn't about judging those faced with an impossible choice. It's about seeking wisdom as a global body of believers. Your voice in the conversation. Now, I turn to you. This discussion needs your thoughtful, compassionate voice. What do you believe? Can the commands to not kill and love your enemy ever be reconciled with self-defense? Does the context of systematic persecution change how we apply Jesus' teachings? Is there a path that honors both the duty to protect and the call to radical peace? Please share your perspective in the comments below. Let's engage with humility, grounded in Scripture, and with deep empathy for those who live with this reality. If this conversation is important, please share this discussion.